Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, whenever you are and wherever you are. This is Mohammad Nabil, and today I have a wonderful presentation to share with you. And I would really like to thank the hosts and the organizers for hosting such a massive event in the Americas. Yes, it's the first time for me to be part of an event in this part of the world. So it will definitely be a huge and a great learning experience, of course, for me and also for the attendees. So again, it's a pleasure to be part of the best and the brightest in English language teaching 2025 conference. And today I'll talk about the autonomous educator redefining roles in modern teaching. Um, so before I start this presentation, I'd really like to give you a brief introduction about myself. So again, my name is Mohammed Nabil, and I'm coming for you today from Saudi Arabia. And I'm originally from Egypt, so I've been involved in the field of English language teaching as an EFL teacher in various institutions like schools, universities, language centers. For over 15 years, I've been a teacher trainer for 5 years, a conference manager, a podcaster with a podcast that is heard and followed by people from over 88 countries from all around the world. I've also been an international speaker for 5 years. So, again, it's a pleasure to be part of this. And when I first saw the call for proposals for this wonderful conference, I have made my own choice because I really wanted to be here with you to share knowledge and, of course, to learn from all the attendees through the chat box, through the answers, through sharing insights and exchanging, knowledge. So I've made my own choice. Okay, I have the responsibility for this choice or for this decision. So this is what this presentation is all about. And this is the answer to this first question in my presentation. And the question is for all of you right now. Do your choices affect your life path? I really want you to share your answers in the chat box. Of course, we all go through some situations where we have to make difficult decisions. Sometimes these decisions affect our own life, and sometimes not. Sometimes we make these decisions, and some other times we don't prefer, to do such things, right? Or to make these decisions. So what about you? I'm looking at the chat box at the moment, and yeah, I'm really interested in knowing more about you. Do your choices affect your life path? If yes, say yes. If no, just drop no. Okay, I can see a variety of answers, which is really good. So I'll make it a little bit more difficult for you, and I'll ask you another question. Would you rather, as you can see, you have two difficult decisions to make. And perhaps some of you already faced something like that in their lives. So, would you rather try something new every day or stay in your comfort zone? What do you think? I myself have been through this before, and this was, very long time ago. I felt like I was stuck between two difficult choices, whether I keep doing the same thing every day or try something new, maybe. Maybe try to do something useful for me and also for the global ELT community, my colleagues from all around the world. So, what about you? Which one would you choose? Please drop your answers in the chat box. I know that some of you would say that maybe it depends. Maybe it depends, right? Because it differs from a topic to topic, from a perspective to another perspective, from one to another, right? For example, I get enough money from my job, so I'll have to stay in my comfort zone. I will keep doing it. Yes, I'm satisfied with it, right? So I wouldn't ever think of doing something new or, finding another job because this is the best one for me, right? But some other people would find it really difficult to get out of their comfort zone and they will prefer to try something new, maybe find another job, maybe try to implement a new activity in their classes every day. So it differs from a person to another. So again, we're talking about choices, right? I will ask you another question, and these two choices are much more difficult. So would you rather choose to be rich but unhappy, or be poor and have a happy family? Of course, the majority will say that money matters a lot these days, right? But some others, of course, will choose to, yes, it's okay to be poor, but the most important thing of all is family. A happy family means a lot to everyone, right? But however, it's a difficult decision to make, right? So today, guys, we're talking about difficult choices. We're talking about making choices or decisions that will definitely change the whole life, the whole career of every teacher. So, in this presentation, I'm talking about a very important term in English language teaching, which is teacher agency. So, in my presentation, I will define what teacher agency is, some components for teacher agency, why it matters, and of course, how to develop it. And as everything in life, there are drawbacks or some issues related to it. So I'll try to, share some challenges with teacher agency, and also we will offer practical solutions to these challenges. And at the end of the session, there will be some enough time for you for a Q&A session. So, you ready to start? If you're ready, please drop number one quickly in the chat box. Let me see the chat box running wild. Okay, amazing. That's great. Let's get it started. So, my first question to you is, what is teacher agency? I want you to drop in the chat box what you think of this term. What do you think of the meaning of this term? What do we mean by teacher agency? I'm looking at the chat box at the moment. Okay, amazing, amazing ideas and amazing answers. So, actually, guys, when we talk about teacher agency, just like what some people said in the chat box, teacher agency is for or is about making your own decisions, just like the decision I've made to be part of this conference. It's about being a self directed learner. So when you make your own decisions, of course, you will have the responsibility towards your own learning. So you'll be a self-directed learner, right? And that's why you are here. You are here in this conference, attending all of these wonderful presentations for the wonderful speakers. So it is your own decision, okay? And it's also about being autonomous and responsible for your own learning. And this is what I've just said. So, teacher agency is the ability of teachers to make purposeful decisions and take the initiative in their work. It actually reflects how independently teachers can shape their teaching, their curriculum, their strategies to meet the students' needs. Because the most important thing of all in the classroom for any teacher is to respond to the learner's needs, right? So, teacher agency is key to fostering innovation, improving the whole educational process, and of course, empowering other teachers as well. So, the reason why teacher agency and self-directed learning are highly, connected to each other, because I've mentioned both of them together, could be because both of the concepts are originated from a perspective wherein autonomy, empowerment, and intentional decision making act as the stepping stones. Okay, so if a teacher has an agency, if he has such freedom to make his own decisions, so he or she can have control over his or her professional teaching practices, manage the challenges that they face every day, and also influence or guide themselves toward a certain professional development. Again, just like this amazing conference. Okay. So, in self directed learning, individuals are responsible for the learning, and they can determine their needs, they can set their goals, and also find the required resources to accomplish or achieve these goals. Okay. Um, so, this is what this presentation is about. Okay, it's about making your own decisions. It's about learning why it is really important to build and develop this awareness towards this kind of responsibility, the responsibility towards your own learning. Okay, so teacher agency has some elements to deal with. So as you can see in this picture, and it is generated by Napkin AI, and it's a wonderful tool to create mind maps and some pure ideas using just simple photos. There are 5 key elements, as you can see on the screen, for teacher agency. Number one, and comes on top of the list, and it's the keyword, it's freedom. And freedom means that teachers have the power to make their own decisions about teaching and, of course, using their classroom activities and choosing them. Of course, we all go to the classroom and we know exactly what our learners need, and we know what works very well for them. So we are the best ones to choose the classroom activities and the methodology to use with them in order to provide them with the best learning experience ever. So this is about freedom. We are free to do whatever we want in the classroom for our learners because we are the ones who know them better, right? Number two comes reflection, and I have a long story with the word reflection because this is what has really made me who I am right now, or what I am right now. So teachers think about what works very well for them and what doesn't, and of course for their learners. And accordingly, they try to adjust their teaching to help the students learn better. So, for example, imagine yourselves going to the classroom and teaching a grammar lesson, maybe using the test teach test framework. So, you go and find out that it is not the best way to work for your learners because they know, you know, a few things about this grammar structure. So, when you get back home, you make a self reflection, or you self reflect on your teaching practice. So you find what worked well in the classroom, what didn't work well for your learners, and you try to adjust in order to provide your learners with a better learning experience, with a better methodology to teach them the language or the grammar structure in a better way. Okay. So this is number two. So the first one is freedom. The second one is reflection. The third one is teamwork. Yes, you are the only one who can make your own decisions, but sometimes we need some help from other colleagues, right? So teachers need to work with other teachers and leaders and stakeholders to improve learning and solve problems. Teaching isn't a one-man show. Yes, you are the only one who is responsible for teaching your own learners inside the classroom, but sometimes we need the help of our other colleagues. For example, sometimes we sit in the staff room together, we try to discuss different methodologies, discuss the different teaching techniques and activities or strategies that we keep implementing in the classroom, and we learn from one another, right? For example, Imagine facing some vocabulary that you are about to teach to your primary students, and you find it difficult to teach a certain word. So, one of the best things to deal with that is to share your ideas with your learner, with your colleagues. Share your concerns with them, and ask for help. Ask for guidance, maybe from the head teacher, from the supervisors, from the direct managers. So because we are all like, like a chain, we are interconnected. We need to help one another because we are a team. Okay. And this leads us to the fourth key element, which is knowledge. We all need to share knowledge with one another. So teachers use what they know and what they learn, okay? And they keep learning new ideas to make better decisions. So the more you are knowledgeable, the more you can make, uh, good decisions, whatever the challenge you are facing, okay? Last one, and component number five is advocacy. And it means that teachers need to speak up for what's best for their students and their schools. In some institutions and some schools, supervisors, head teachers always try to force teachers to implement certain activities, follow certain strategies in order to provide the learners with, or to achieve, some certain goals, or embrace a particular vision. But this doesn't always work because, again, a teacher is the best one who knows his or her learners. So teachers are the best ones who can speak for what's best for them and for their learners. Okay, so these are the five key elements. Again, they are freedom, reflection, teamwork, knowledge, and advocacy. Okay, very good. Okay, so this is about what teacher agency is. We're trying to change the way teachers um, deal with their own careers, um, making their own choices. But why? Why teacher agency? Why does it matter? Well, it matters for a lot of reasons, okay? It matters because it gives teachers the power to make decisions that improve learning, teaching, and the whole school or organization environments. Okay. So when teachers really have more control over their work, they feel more confident. They feel more motivated, more satisfied. And of course, they feel more able to create meaningful learning experiences for the learners. Imagine yourself have the freedom to do um, anything and everything that you think that works uh, better for your learners and of course for yourselves. So of course it will be, like a paradise. You will be more satisfied with the job that you have. You will be more motivated every day to implement something new or to do something new for your learners, because you become a more innovative teacher, right? And a more confident one as well, because you know exactly what to do and you know how to deal with yourself and with your learners. Okay. So again, it matters for a lot of reasons. And as you can see on the screen, it leads to enhanced student learning. It leads to strengthening school engagement, aligning with educational goals, driving innovation, and also empowering educators. So I'll be going through each one of these points separately in a second. Okay, so teacher agency matters for a lot of reasons, and the first one is that it leads to a better learning experience for students. And I mean that teacher agency means personalized lessons because you know your learners more. So teachers can adjust the teaching methods to fit the students' needs. For example, let's imagine that we have a teacher, an English language teacher, who works in a high school, and he notices that some students struggle with reading comprehension. So instead of following a one size fits all curriculum that doesn't serve the needs, that doesn't meet the needs of the learners, the teacher introduces a small group discussions, interactive digital tools, and audio versions of texts to support different and diverse learning styles and needs. Okay. The second part is it leads to more engagement. Okay. So when teachers have the freedom to design their lessons, students become more interested and involved, right? You know, motivation is contagious, right? So if the students feel like that you are really motivated and you really like what you're doing in the classroom, they will be more motivated in return, right? So when teachers have the freedom to design lessons, the students become more involved, more engaged, more interested. And let me give you an example about that. If a science teacher and teacher agency is really important for all teachers, not only teachers of English language or teachers of languages. If a science teacher uses hands-on experiments and he lets the students choose their own project topics, because our learners or learners have different preferences, right? So when this teacher lets the students choose their own project topics, this will make the students more excited about learning compared to traditional textbook based teaching. Okay, so don't strictly follow the course books. Don't follow the instructions 100% because they don't know your learners. You know them better, right? The third point in this part is higher achievement. Teacher agency leads to higher achievement, as research shows that students perform better when teachers can make their own instructional decisions. Sometimes, yes, we cannot involve the learners in decision making, but over time, we need to give them that kind of responsibility to make their own decisions. Okay, so part of a research published on the internet, and I going to share with you all of the resources that I've used in this presentation at the end of this presentation. A math teacher in Finland, where teacher agency is strong, tailors problem solving exercises based on student performance instead of following a rigid syllabus. So, as a result, the students score higher in international math assessments, and this leads to higher academic achievements, right? So, that's why teacher agency matters. Okay. Um, Teacher agency also matters to teachers because it leads to happier and more confident teachers. So it gives teachers a sense of purpose. Teachers feel more in control and valued when they have a say in the work, when they have a word that they can share with others, when they feel that other people can hear them and also follow them. Their opinions matter. Okay. So, for example, teachers can co-create lesson plans instead of just following preset materials. Teachers can feel more motivated because they can use their creativity and expertise other than following other people's lesson plans or ready-made lesson plans by their head teachers and the direct managers. Teacher agency leads to ongoing growth because you have the freedom to try new methods, and this will help teachers definitely to improve their skills and confidence. Okay, so for example, if you are interested in implementing and using AI in education, and you always like to experiment AI tools in the classroom, in particular using chat box to assist in answering students' questions outside the classroom time because we can't be there 24 hours, right? Over time, you know, teachers will refine, will change, modify their approaches, and they try to share them with their colleagues. And you know what? This can help learners also gain some agency, right? So these are the lists or the list of references I have used to create this presentation about teacher agency or having autonomous educators. And that's me, Mohammad Nabil. Thank you for listening, and all of your questions are welcome, and I will gladly answer them. Thank you.